Hi, I'm Samantha Varner, and this is the She Needs Grit podcast, the show where I dig into how to prioritize profit in your business and build an empire using grit and strategy and doing it in a simple, no BS kind of way. Let's get started. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sam Varner. I'm your host of She Needs Grit podcast, and I am so looking forward to this episode today. So, I try and pull podcast episode topics from a variety of different sources, things that I read, things that I engage with, and oftentimes what I think is happening with clients. In my day-to-day coaching clients, I do see a lot of repetitive topics. And so I know if my clients have these, then more than likely, so do you. So let's get started today. We are going to talk about ditching overwhelm. But to begin with, we're going to talk about what is overwhelm? What does that look like? How does it show up? And what are some of the things that you can identify and then move past so that you're not feeling that consistent pressure, right, in your business? It's really hard to take action and to drive forward if you're not doing that. So, okay, so sometimes, I'm just going to move my notes up here. Sometimes we've got things like there's too much to do. There's such a long list of to-dos that we don't even know what part we should start with, right? We can't even determine what is the first piece of this puzzle. How do I begin this? So we have that. Then we have temptation to start over or change things, or you think things aren't working in your business. And so you just think, if I do it all differently, or if I start again, maybe this is the wrong way and I can start again in a different way, and that will make me successful. Accomplishing nothing. I think this is where I find I live sometimes, is if I get overwhelmed, I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about it. There's a lot of thinking that's happening, but there's not a lot of action. So, although you're mentally exhausted by the end of the day, there's no actual creation of a plan or a thought or even just taking action on the work that I know I need to do. So, if any of that resonates with you or feels true to you, I think the first thing you need to know is everybody does this. Everybody gets into a state of overwhelm and struggles sometimes to get back out of it, to be able to see the forest for the trees, right? To be able to view all of the things that are contributing to it, and then to be able to evaluate and step back. And that is the hardest part, you guys. It is the step after acknowledging you're overwhelmed and getting into, how do I deal with this mode, right? What are the ways that I can function and fix and strategize? And that's where our brains go. How can I function and fix and strategize? How can I do new things? And I don't think that that's the most effective way to get out of overwhelm. I don't think it's actually an action thing at all. It's not about what is the next thing I do. In fact, it's a mindset problem. So it is something where in the crush formula that I work through with my clients, the last piece of that formula is headspace. It is everything that's going on in your brain, how much that impacts everything else you do in your business. And that's where overwhelm comes from. Overwhelm doesn't come from crappy strategy or not a right tactic or too much to do. It comes from your brain, it comes from your thoughts. So, the first thing to really understand and acknowledge is that what you think about your business, or say your parenting or your personal life or your relationship, creates the results in those circumstances. It's what you think. It's what your brain is telling you that you believe to be factual. It feels very like this must be true. I can see this, or I think I see this. And so your brain goes to work to say, you think, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm overwhelmed. There's too much to do. I can't move forward. I'm just stuck. And your brain then goes to work proving that you're stuck, proving that there's too much to do or not enough time or you don't know how. None of those things are true. They're not factual, but your brain is really trying to create evidence for you, and you will only see the evidence of this rather than the evidence of time is abundant, all of the ways in which your business has been working up till now. All of that, you won't see that. It'll be much harder to find it. So, what I want you to do is, I'm going to just talk to you today about 3 different ways that you can disrupt that thinking so that you start to see things more clearly and you can see what you need to do to get out of this overwhelm and to sidestep your brain who's trying to just prove to you that the thought you had was right. Okay? So there's 3 different ways that I think work really well, and I want you to really give this a go. The first way is to journal. Journal your thoughts. And when I say that, I mean like dump all of the crap in your head, all of it, on a piece of paper and just keep writing until you stop. And if you have trouble starting this, what is overwhelming me? Write a to-do list. How do I think about my business right now? How am I feeling in my business right now? Some of those prompts will help you start this process if you're staring at a blank page and kind of like, what do I even write? I don't know. Start there. Start with those sorts of things. So you first dump it all out on the paper. You take the time, and this might feel counterintuitive to taking action and getting back in the business and doing all the things. But I promise you, if you can clear the space in your brain, your ability to be productive and effective day to day goes significantly up. So you need to clear this space. One of the coaches I follow calls this the garbage. You need to clear out your garbage bags before you can actually sit down to do the work. So you've dumped everything out on paper in whatever method works really well for you. If it's harder for you to do that on paper, one of the things you can do is use an app that you can voice record into that will do a transcription. This will allow you, if you're a verbal kind of processor person, to get the same kind of like dump going on and then be able to go back in the transcript because it helps to do the next step with a written situation. Then you can go through the transcript and do the next part. The next part is highlight or circle the things that are factual on the paper, that aren't just thoughts, that aren't just a piece of your brain trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe, trying to show you all the ways that you are overwhelmed. You will be surprised just in the action of that, realizing how much of the crap in your brain is just made up. It's just thoughts. It's not fact. It's not truth. And so you can think different thoughts. And I want you to really look at that and evaluate how much of the stuff that I'm worried about is reality, how much of the things have actually happened, how many of these things are reasonable to think, and how many of them are fact. And when you look at those things, say you have a whole sheet of paper and you have 3 things that are factual, then those are the problems you want to solve for. And now your problems don't feel like there's 927,000. Now you have 3. And instantly you will feel better. You will feel less overwhelmed because you will start to realize not all of the things that just go around in our brains need to be acted on. And you can do this over and over and over again anytime you're in that feeling of overwhelm and just feeling like you're not getting where you want to get to and it's too much. This allows you to just clear the garbage and look at just the things you need to deal with next, the next right step. Okay. The second piece, again, for dealing with overwhelm when you're in it or when you're sitting down to deal with it or when you're just feeling that. And maybe that feeling is not happening when you're sitting at your desk. Maybe that feeling is happening when you finally slow down in the evening and you're laying in bed. And sometimes it's got nothing to do with work. But I find one of the best ways to do this is what I call as box breathing. I honestly don't know if that's the right terminology, but that's what I think of in my head. So, the way box breathing works is that you are going to inhale for 4 counts, hold it for 2 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold it for two, inhale for 4 counts, hold it for two, exhale for 4 counts, hold it for two. And in my head, if you can visualize, if you've ever taken ballroom dancing in school or anything like that, I feel like I'm looking at the picture of the foot marks, right? If you're learning ballroom dancing, so it's like up, stop, over, stop, down, stop, over, stop. And that might seem silly, but it helps me focus on what I'm doing. So that just doing that for one box, 5 boxes will help settle your actual body, your actual physical body. And it allows everything to just decompress a little bit to the point that you can relax and it clears your mind. And that immediate feeling of overwhelm or of, I don't know what to do. I can't figure this out. This is too hard. I'm not good at this. Everything's a mess. My life is a disaster, right? Because that's how our brains go, right? They're like a little crazy person in there, just getting you to a level where you can't believe you went from, I have a lot to do today, to that hamster wheel. So try the journaling, try the box breathing. And then the third thing is you need to get clarity around what your action steps should be, what your plan should be. And I think you need this. My recommendation is always from some sort of objective outside source. So, much like you can't see the forest for the trees in your own brain, that holds true. If somebody else hears what you're saying, they can often poke holes in it. They can see the things that you're talking about or not talking about that are not relevant or they're not true or they're just a made up story in your head. And they can help you evaluate what your next steps are. Now, this can be a friend, this can be, whoever's in your life. But one of the things I want to really encourage you guys to take advantage of is this is exactly what I do on my profit maker calls. So, booking a profit maker call for me is, first off, it's free. Secondly, its entire goal is to create clarity for you. So, to have you come in, tell me what the picture looks like, and me be able to feed back to you what you need to take action on and what you maybe don't, and to create clarity in your next steps. So, if you're sitting in overwhelm and you're feeling like the pressure is on and you don't know how to get to the next step, be it big pressure, overwhelming pressure, or just day to day, you're not sure, then book a profit maker call with me. The link will be in the show notes. You can find the link on my Instagram profile at shecollective.biz and book that call with me. Let me help you clear out the garbage, get the clarity in your business, and allow you to move forward for the next half of the year with exception. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening or watching, depending on where you are. And remember, you guys are badass business owners building something that has never been created before. So, yes, is it going to feel hard? Are you going to have these moments of overwhelm? Absolutely. But just know you've got your own back and I'm here in your ears, available to sit down and have a conversation about your business and how you can get out of overwhelm and into profit. Have a great day.